marry Katherine Campbell, the 1924 Miss America winner from Philadelphia. Sable Starr and Laurie Maddox, known for their association with rock stars, are pictured with Dave Hill from Slade in Los Angeles in 1973. Brooke Shields blows a bubble in Washington Square Park in 1978. A couple stands with a German Shepherd on their shoulders in the United Kingdom, circa the 1910s. Salvador Dali and Coco Chanel are captured smoking cigarettes in 1930. President Bill Clinton is photographed with an excited White House intern in 1996. In the 1920s, a young boy, dazed by a diabetic coma, finds solace in a waiting room with his loved ones. Mrs. Gordon Simpson and budding racecar driver Joan Richmond seated in her 1921 3-liter GP Ballot racer in 1934. Elizabeth Gardner, a Women's Air Force service pilot, in a B-26 bomber in 1943. Elizabeth Taylor, a child actress of the 1940s, photographed during a 1956 movie shoot. Generals observing former concentration camp prisoners, demonstrating the tortures they endured in 1945. 3-year-old Jennifer Adair striking a cute pose with a book in the 1950s. A thirsty gentleman taking a hearty sip of beer to celebrate the end of Prohibition in 1933. The Cheese Paradise at the Crystal Palace Market in San Francisco, 1953. An 1860 London dress shop captures a woman waiting for her grand hoops to be completed. Arthur LaCaille using a gasoline torch to thaw rail switches in the Chicago rail yard near LaSalle Street Station in 1944. Wilma Jacobson and a friend crafting a charming snowman in the 1930s. In the 1960s, a girl straightening her hair with an iron, the classic method for sleek locks. A proud sailor from the USS Oriskany displaying his tattoos in the 1950s. John Farnsworth is covered in kisses by his fangirls in 1944. 2 men construct a giant snowman in Istanbul in 1929. A young Paul McCartney takes a mirror selfie, possibly one of the first celebrity selfies ever taken. A teenage Anthony Kiedis of the Red Hot Chili Peppers poses with his father Blackie in 1976. An Australian woman gets a hammer and sickle tattooed on the bottom of her foot in 1937. A jobless man walks the streets with a banner on his back, asking for a job in the 1930s. A California teacher imparts lessons on the physics of surfing in a classroom in 1970. Pep, the dog, was sentenced to life in prison for killing Pennsylvania governor's cat in 1924. Frank Lentini, who had 3 legs, 4 feet, 16 toes, and 2 functioning sets of genitals. Teenagers jamming to Elvis Presley's tunes at the Philadelphia Arena in 1957. Kids attending nursery school at a Farm Security Administration migratory labor camp in 1941. Rolling stores bringing the neighborhood store to remote Mississippi farm families in the 1940s. Young Peter exploring East Germany around 1969. Men seeking sustenance at a bread and soup kitchen during the Great Depression in the 1930s. A tender moment from the 1930s. An elderly Chinese man lovingly cuddles his cat on his belly. An employee at a Hatter's in 1928, diligently carrying a stack of stylish straw boaters. A family of sharecroppers evicted and living in a temporary camp in Missouri in 1939. 2 young pals striking a pose with a human-powered rickshaw in the 1940s. A street vendor selling a variety of goods, including Star of David armbands, in the Warsaw Ghetto in 1941. 3 skilled stone masons crafting an iconic monument in the world's largest sculpture park, Oslo, Norway, between 1929 and 1942. The aftermath of the Vietnam War, a mangrove forest devastated by Agent Orange in 1976. A woman apprehended by police for illegally serving alcohol from her bootlegger's life preserver in 1924. Chicago police ensuring compliance with bathing suit-length laws in 1922. Empress Elizabeth of Austria captured in 1862. Bosnian Muslims from the 13th Waffen-Gebergs Division at prayer during their training at Neuhammer in 1943.